budget read by Minister Nene for the new fiscal year 2015-16 is very clearly about long-term debt sustainability. So in recent years, government's been borrowing too much, and he's addressed the issue on two fronts. First, he's reduced spending over the next 3 fiscal years by a cumulative 25 billion rand relative to what the 2014 budget had initially said. And also he's raised revenue, and he's focused on a couple of areas. One of them is income taxes.
Now what he did is he increased the personal income tax for everyone except the people who is on the lowest bracket. So everybody who earns more than about 180,000 Rand a year, their taxes were increased with 1% across each of the brackets.
He also focused quite heavily on fuel, so that would be an indirect tax, so it's taxation of expenditure, and that's 80.5 cents per litre.
What that means is that for a car with a 60-litre tank, that's an additional 48 rands that you are going to spend.
The sin taxes went up quite a bit, more than inflation in many cases. So in the case of wine, you're paying another 20 cents on a litre of wine. For each can of beer, you're paying another 7 cents. And for a pack of 20 cigarettes, unfortunately, as much as 82 cents more per pack.
It wasn't all bad news. There are a couple of areas where there is some good news for us as consumers in the budget. The medical aid rebates have been increased slightly to make up for the effect of inflation.
As far as retirement fund reform is concerned, I would describe this budget as a pragmatic one. On the one hand, the Minister reaffirmed his commitment to continue the path, quite vigorously I might say, plotted before by his predecessor, Pravin Gordhan, and announced that various tax changes will be coming in from 1 March 2016. For example, equalising the tax deductibility of pension funds, provident funds and retirement annuities, and give greater tax deductibility to all South Africans. He also talked about reducing costs in the retirement fund industry, improving governance and other measures to really just improve outcomes for the average South African. He also said that the long-delayed paper on a national social security system will be released very soon. Besides the paper on a national social security system, we can expect more papers and detail on the proposed national health insurance. The matters are related, and with the austerity measures currently underway, it'll be interesting to see detail of how these can be afforded for South Africans. As far as the approximately 16 million South Africans who currently receive social grants or old age pensions from the government, some small inflationary increases of about 4.4% were announced effective 1 April 2015. The old age grants for all South Africans who qualify over age 60 will increase from 1,350 Rand a month to 1,410 a month. I think it's fairly obvious that that is not a significant amount for a comfortable retirement, and I think the message is that South Africans can't depend on government for all their retirement needs.
Previous speeches has introduced us to the tax-free savings account, and this actually now launches on the 1st of March of this year. One of the things that the Finance Minister said in the medium-term policy statement and reiterated in this budget speech is that he wants to make the tax system even more progressive. Where he has also started to do this is in transfer duty. If you sell a property for less than 750,000 Rand, there is no transfer duty. However, the story is quite different in the higher end of the scale. The top end of the limit was increased from 8% to 11%.
Now, is the Minister going to manage to reach his debt sustainability target? I think so. That's what the budget deficit numbers are saying to us. The consolidated budget deficit declines from 3.9% of GDP in the fiscal year 2015-16 to 2.5% by 2017-18. But the more important number to watch is the primary budget balance, and that's simply revenue less non-interest spending, and that declines from minus 1.7% of GDP to 0% of GDP over the same time. And if the Minister manages to do that, then that should stabilize the debt ratio. It is at a fairly high level relative to history. It stabilizes at just below 48% of GDP. That's the total loan debt ratio. But nonetheless, it is an important intervention, and in time, the Minister would then look to reduce that deficit to then create some more fiscal space again.